So we're just a week or so removed from CES, but already we have the first big Android flagship announcement of 2017. HTC has today announced two new phones in its new U series. We've got the HTC U Play and the HTC U Ultra. Both phones are still pretty early, which is why HTC isn't allowing live hands-on video just yet, but we've had a sneak peek already. It's the first time we've seen HTC's take on a glass-backed phone, and both of these look really nice. The blue in particular is absolutely gorgeous. HTC calls this a liquid surface finish, with vapored minerals giving each colour a distinctive look. Of course they look great fresh out of the box, but like other glass phones you've got to wonder how well they'll stand up to wear and tear. So in the U Play we've got a 5.2-inch screen at 1080p, whereas the U Ultra is the first proper HTC phablet we've seen in a few years, with a 5.7-inch 1440p screen. Both of these are 2.5D glass front and back with an aluminium frame sandwiched in the middle. You've got HTC 10 style buttons down below, and like the HTC Bolt there's no 3.5mm jack. So dongles at the ready, you're going to have to use USB-C audio instead, which yes means you'll have more adapters to deal with if you want to use normal headphones. The trade-off is you get the same adaptive audio goodness that we first saw in the Bolt. The phones use sonar-like pulses to map your inner ear and then adjust the sound accordingly. Sounds ridiculous, but apparently works pretty well. The other weird hardware quirk can be found on the Ultra alone. It's an LG V20 style second screen, which does pretty much the same thing as that phone's ticker display. You can stick app and settings shortcuts up there, or your favorite contacts, and the phone also uses it as a place to show certain notification alerts without popping over the main screen. Both phones run HTC's Sense software. On the Play, you're stuck back on Marshmallow unfortunately, but the Ultra does come on the latest 7.0 Nougat release. And the core experience is exactly the same as an HTC 10 or HTC Bolt with the latest software. What the U series adds is HTC's take on AI in the form of the new Sense Companion. This isn't just a traditional voice assistant, instead HTC has peppered AI throughout Sense, giving you intelligent alerts for things like when you need to charge the battery based on your usage patterns, or finding a restaurant nearby based on your own tastes, or even giving you travel and clothing tips based on the weather. Individually, none of these things are new, and HTC has tried things like this before, like app suggestions with limited success, so we'll have to wait and see how this pans out when we get devices in hand. Like I said, these two have different cameras. The U Play has a 16-megapixel sensor with an f2.0 lens, probably the same module used in the Bolt, but that's not confirmed. And the Ultra steps up to a slightly updated version of the HTC 10's camera, 12 megapixels with large 1.55 micron pixels behind an f1.8 lens. It's added phase detect autofocus to the mix too, which almost certainly means it's using the same sensor as the Google Pixel. If you care about that stuff, that's the newer Sony IMX378. So the Ultra we're looking potentially at a top-class camera. With the Play, it's a bit more run-of-the-mill. Around the front, there's a new 16-megapixel shooter for selfies with a 4-megapixel ultra-pixel mode for sharper shots in the dark. And finally, perhaps the biggest warning sign with these phones, the batteries. The U Play's battery is just 2500 mAh and the Ultra steps up to 3000, but neither is particularly roomy considering the size of these phones. We'll need to get these two in hands before we know for sure, but just based on the numbers, don't count on either one breaking any battery life records. The HTC U Ultra goes up for pre-order in the US on January 12th, priced $749. This is not a cheap phone, and there'll also be a special edition Sapphire version with 128 gigs of storage, which presumably will sell for even more. So battery worries aside, the Ultra looks like a solid high-end phone for now, but don't forget we're just a couple of months away from new flagship season, and with it the first phones with Qualcomm's new Snapdragon 835, so the clock's ticking for HTC to get these things on store shelves. We've got much more on the HTC U Ultra and U Play on a write-up on AndroidCentral.com, and we'll have a review in the weeks ahead as well, so keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, I'm out of here, we'll see you next time.